Welcome back to our home renovation remodel thing, whatever the heck this thing is still. Continuing on today in the sunroom. The last time we were in here, we started making some of the trim for this room. There is a crazy amount of trim that's going to be going in here. And we got a lot of it finished, prepped, and ready to go. So today, I'm going to start on some install and making some more parts. We're not going to make all the parts this time. We're not going to have it all installed this time, but we're making progress to the end goal of things. So the first thing to go in is going to be the jam extensions that we made last time. I'm going to reassemble them, get them just test fitted into their openings, see how they fit, make sure they're still good, and then we can actually look at affixing them into their or onto their windows for real. Okay, so to install these, I'm going to first glue them to the window jambs. When we did the extensions on the basement window, we had enough room where we could pocket screw the extension jam to the jam, but there's no way I would be able to get in here and get them in there, so I'm just going to glue these directly on there, and then we can add some blocking to the sides to make sure that's in tight. I'm using some shims here to make sure that I am nice and consistent along the bottom and the top. I made these a little bit taller than the required openings, so the shims will make sure I'm centered top to bottom, and I can also make sure that I'm still sitting on here level, which I am, so that one is good to sit till the glue dries. All right, those two are all set, and that's kind of all I have for 12-inch clamps. I don't really feel like dragging a bunch of long clamps up here to do this last one. So while the glue sets on those, I think we're gonna go down and start making the sill. So the sill is gonna run from this window here all the way around to here, underneath all those windows. So from the drawings, here is the sill. It's just this piece right here. For a window, it would get the apron. For the great room, we had that apron on there. And now for the sunroom, this is actually going to be replaced with V-paneling. So we'll still have this cove molding that transitions from the V-paneling into the sill, but this is what I'm focused on making now. When we did the great room, we made this a 3/4 inch piece because we made the jam and the sill, one piece. With it being two pieces now, I'm going to make it an inch thick, which is what it actually calls for. So in the great room, we used this profile here. That's this bit to do the bottom cove OG detail thing, but that's actually kind of smaller than I actually need to then make a bull nose on the front. So I don't really have exactly this bit because these are two different radiuses. I do have this like drawer edge bit, which kind of creates a bit of a flat spot, like a vertical, and then it comes into the curve, which I think is going to be pretty cool. So I'm going to do this instead, which is in my router already, of course. And my total width here as spec'd is 2 inches. And another thing I'm going to do to make this maybe go a little bit easier is I'm going to extend the sill back a bit and create a bit of a rabbet on the back so that I can actually receive the the jambs on the windows and just kind of hook in, because otherwise I don't have a way to really fasten this very well. But like this, the sill will actually support those jambs and should make the install maybe a little bit smoother. Maybe because this reference will hook onto the bottom of all the jambs, and it should allow the sill to sit at a consistent height relative to the windows, but we'll see. Now with these longer moldings, it's kind of up to you whether you want to make them in this one long piece, you make a bunch of small pieces together. I already know doing this with a router, there's going to be a little bit of inconsistency. So if I try and splice two pieces of the molding together, the profile is probably going to match up perfectly. I'll have to do some blending on the wall. So for me, since I'm here on site, we're going to do this in one piece. So similarly to last time, this used to be a 16-footer. I added 2 feet to the end, and I'll be able to run my profile down both sides and make 2 18-foot sticks of this stuff. One piece I will go through and do the install before cutting my shorter pieces out of the other one. That way I have a backup, just in case. Okay, I got my router a bit in the router. I'm using a fence here because if I use the bearing's lower, it'll ride down here under the other OG area. It'll cause the bit to cut even deeper on this side. To keep a bull nose, I need to reference the very tip of the bull nose, which is in line with the bottom of the cut, actually, not the actual location of the bearing. Okay, this needs like a little bit of sanding to blend that bull nose. Before I do that, I'm going to go back inside and install that last extension jamb. So there is that bull nose all blended together and nice and smooth and pretty. So next this can get ripped down to its final width. And while I'm over on the table saw, I can create that little rabbit detail. So these things will actually lap over the window jambs. So there is the finished sill stock. So we got the profile on the front, and we got this little rabbit here in the back, so that the windows will come right up in there and give us a little bit of a lip from the sill to the window jamb. So these are ready for paint, and I'm gonna go back inside and we're gonna start working on getting that the band boards up onto the wall. So just to further illustrate what we're going to be doing here for this band board detail, which continues through the whole project. This is a 10-inch wide board. This is going to go up here, something like that. So it's going to sit on top of all of the windows and sort of link our head height of all the pieces. That's going to leave us a little bit of space here. We don't need to go all the way up because we have that crown molding, which is going to go here. So this is going to be the base for all of the trim details kind of above the windows and everything. And this continues all the way around. So we're like a, kind of looks like a coffered ceiling kind of thing, but just one big coffer. So the idea there is that all of the windows and the doors in this room have the same head height, which brings me to one thing I got to fix before moving forward. And that is the head height of the pantry window. So we went back and forth on whether or not to have this window here at all. We framed it, we cut it, we figured we can always fill it back in at any point. This has been like this for a year now. and we've been kind of in and out of the space, and having just like some kind of light, like natural light in the pantry as you're walking in there, it makes it feel like it's not a closet, which I like. So this detail is going to stay. I don't know what it's going to be yet. Open, clear glass, stained glass, frosted glass, whatever, something. There's going to be a hole here. But the mistake we made is we set the head height on here, how the head heights are laid out in the kitchen, which is with a head casing and then the band board. So this is set up how it should be in the rest of the house, not for this room. This needs to go up another 4 inches or so. But at this point, to move forward, I need to get that head height set properly. So I'm going to chop out the framing and the drywall above that window and just move that whole opening up the amount I need to get it in line with the door and the 8 windows and the cased opening thing that goes into the breakfast nook. All right, now that I got that mess made, I'm gonna set my laser up and we'll start getting this first band board in here. Whew. So I set those blocks a little low so I can shim it up. It's surprisingly straight. Like, it's right on the line the whole way down. So I think that's where it's gonna be. I'm just gonna tack it in place for now, just a few screws, and then I'll actually secure it for real later on once I'm a little further along. If I've learned anything, it's that something always needs adjustment. And if there's less fasteners to remove, it just makes those adjustments a little bit easier. So I think we'll do this one here next. So it actually needs a cut. So it's this piece here. Sunroom band south. That's the south wall. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bevel on the back of this thing just to keep the back corner out of the way. Because that corner's got that corner bead in it, so it's got some buildup. So we're gonna go a little bit in this way and a little bit in that way. Okay, with that side out of the way, I want to turn my attention to this wall here. So I get the same kind of band board going on top, but of course there's things that are gotta get done before I can actually get that on there. And I need to start working on getting this door finalized. It does need a 1/2 inch extension jamb on the front, so I have to make and apply that. And I also need to confirm placement of this box because I want to have even casings to the right of the door and the left of the window, and have that center line of that casing come straight through the switch box and land dead center between the switches. So this box is in here with a spacer on this side to put this box into what we thought was the right position. I want to confirm that's in the right position and move it if needed before I start trimming things out. This door needs to have its casings put on, or at least the right casing, before I can set the sill, and the sill has to go on before I can set the window casings. So there's a whole process of things that have to happen in the correct order. So let's fix this door, or finish the door. Okay, the door install is done, only 1.5 years later. I made some extension jambs, and these are going to go onto the current jamb, something like that. So very similar to the other ones, I have a little bit of a rabbet on here, and this is the thickness of my extension that I need. So this thing will just lap over the existing jamb and create that little step detail. And I have about 1/4 inch, which is the same as all the other ones. So I'm going to cut these and attach them, and we can move on. Okay, the door is done, so let's take a look and see how the box location is doing. From jamb to jamb, I have 12 inches, so the center of the box should be at 6 over here, and the center of the box is currently off center by 3/16 of an inch. So the box has got to go that way by 3/16. And if you're thinking, what kind of crazy person is going to move a box 3/16 of an inch? I'm pretty crazy. Come on, Pancake. Couple passes through the planer, and now this is the right size. And go back in. Boop. Okay, the next thing on the list to take care of is to make all the casings for this wall, so I can get them made and get them off the paint while I'm installing some other stuff in here. So we need the left door casing, the right door casing, this window casing, and then the corner window casings, which are kind of easy. The one thing I need to know before heading down to the shop is going to be the height off the floor that the sill is going to be. So I want to have the V-groove paneling look coming down through here. And then this door casing will have that V-paneling look end right at the intersection of the sill and be flat down to the floor. So about 14.5 inches off the floor is where I need that detail to end. So here's a setup for this. I have a chamfer bit in here, but I did one little different thing is I modified the bearing size. With that smaller bearing on there, it's going to allow the shoulder up here to actually engage in the cut and create a little bit of a step before the chamfer actually starts. And that's going to produce a piece that when I put both of them together, it's going to have a little valley where the V's kind of come together. And that's going to mimic the look of the expansion gap on the traditional V-groove paneling. So let me run these two pieces and we can butt them together and see how they're going to look. And there's the two boards butted together after the edge treatment. It has it's a little bit of a flat there in the bottom, but you have that V-groove detail going straight down the two of them. I think it's going to tie a lot of the elements in the room together. So these are going to go off the paint, and then I'll see you back inside. All right, while those are off at paint, I'm going to start on this first archway thing, this beam and column detail. So unlike all the other, I guess, casings and jambs, where you have like a 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch step just to kind of hide any kind of inconsistencies, this is all flush. It's supposed to read as a post and beam, so a little more different. So I've kind of gone back and forth on like the best way to do this. I don't know if this is the best way, but it's the way that I'm going to go about it. Is I'm going to create the beam first, as you know, the jamb, and then the other band board on this side to create a full beam effect, and then I will set the U-shaped column things, either building them on the ground first and putting them in as a unit, or building them in place. I don't really know which way it's going to go yet, but the first thing is to get the beam thing done, I guess. All right, I think that's gonna work. It's crazy how much nicer it looks just having a little more framing covered up. So next I want to secure this jamb in position and make sure it's not rolled down. My band board here is plumb, so this should be square or level, which I can already see that the back side of this has to come up a little bit. So I'm going to put some blocking in here and put some screws up to suck that jamb into level. So there is the beam detail, and I'm going to jump into the columns next. I'm going to start on this side, and the first thing I have to do is find the actual location of the jamb. This needs to be in line with that side. That side is going to be pretty tight, so I'm going to make this side match what's going on over there. I need to come out from this surface like 2 inches before my jamb starts. So I'm going to put a filler on here to pad this out a little more. I probably should have done that before, but I didn't really take any measurements and look at that before, but it's not like a huge deal. Now with the filler on there, I need to come out from the wall 5/8 of an inch up top. And I also checked my framing for plumb. And I don't know who the hell set this wall. How close do you want to be here?
It's just jam.
Okay, we can find this. This one's out of plumb by a lot. Like probably about an inch over, maybe 3/4 of an inch over those 6 feet. So I got to block out 5/8 up here, and then I will block out a block down there on the end to be the right distance out and also plumb. So let's get me started. I got a block up here which sets this as sort of my datum, I guess. This is the right distance off the wall, which is going to match the other side, which isn't done yet. So when the jamb goes on here, I'll have 16.5 on the face of the jamb to the wall, which is what I need over there. And this block down here isn't quite enough yet, but I'll end up adjusting the jamb once I have it up there. And I think to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to pre-assemble the column. So I'll have the jamb dominoed into the casings essentially, and I'll be able to put it up here and put it together like in pieces, but sort of it's already pre-assembled. So it should go together a lot easier. That way I can install just one casing to the jamb. I can get the jamb plumbed up and stabilized and supported along its length. And then I can attach the backside and kind of lock everything in. Sort of kind of like I did with the column, but I'm doing the jamb first. Or like the L. I'm making an L first. Making a corner, I guess. I'll assemble a corner and then set that corner and then box it in. What a difference not having exposed framing makes. Let's do this one next. So the setup on this one is that the framing is a little bit off. This wall is framed out too far by about a 1/2 inch, so I don't really have any adjustability in my jamb like I did over there. So that's a problem, kind of. I could have made my jam material thinner and made up the difference there, but I didn't. Luckily, whoever plumbed this stud did a nice job because it's perfectly plumbed exactly where it needs to be. So I can mount my jam directly to it. The only thing it's going to do is move the face of that jam out a 1/4 inch further than it should be off this wall. But I planned for that because the piece I made to go here is wider, so I can scribe it if needed to get it tight to the wall if it's off. Or I can make up the extra 1/4 inch. I don't think you're going to notice this one's a 1/4 inch wider than this one. And this one's more important anyway because it sets the location of the V panel and goes all the way back to the wall on that side. So if these two are stepped out a little differently by 1/4 inch, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. So this side should go exactly the same as the other side, or maybe even faster because I've done it before. So this wall here is out of plumb pretty good. This one's fine, this one's a little off. So this piece is tapered, but that's done. The archway detail, the first one, is all set and done. So I'm gonna move on to, I'm gonna see if I can get this wall here wrapped up around the windows. So I got the sill, which is gonna go on first. And I'm actually gonna do inside corner miters into the corners. That way I have some space to put my dominoes in and I can connect them that way rather than trying to, I don't know, like notch these together or cope them or something weird. We're just gonna do a inside miter with some dominoes. And I think there's probably gonna be some finagling to get it to go in around all the framing and up under everything else. So might be a little bit of back and forth and some prep work until this thing is actually ready to actually go in. I need to notch this little rabbet here around the framing here. So I'm gonna make some little marks here where the rabbit's gotta get notched. And then the other bit of prep work I need to do is I'm gonna put screws in from the bottom side to catch the casings. So I wanna drill those now because they're gonna be really close to the wall. So I got some holes to drill and some notches to make. And then I also need the dominoes into the ends there. Let's see if we can get this in here for an actual test fit. The sill has got a bow in it, so it's fighting me trying to actually stay up here on the wall. I think that's gonna fit. All right, let's get it in. Okay, with that sill in there, it's starting to look a lot nicer. I think the last thing we're gonna do in this video is install the window casings here, get those all knocked out, and this should go smoothly or easily, quickly, whatever you want to call it. The window jambs also need to be supported because they're kind of flexy up in here, so I will block these and straighten them as I go to give them support and make sure they're not bowed, because you'll be able to see that in the step between the window casing and the jamb. The big windows are almost fully cased. I just have the corner ones to do, and I'm gonna wait until I have the rest of the sills on there before I drop those corner pieces in. But the big ones are here and installed, and it really just it makes a huge difference. So we put a big dent in our pile. Let me spin you around and show you that. So we just have these 4 pieces here. These are the post sides for the other 2 posts on the kitchen side. So that's going to be for future stuff. This is the baseboard, which is just extras from doing the great room, and they're already kind of sized to go in over there. So basically, from what we made in the last episode, this is all that's left. And I think that's where we're going to end this one. A lot of progress, still a ways to go though. There's a lot in this room, and there's a lot everywhere else. So at least we're getting somewhere in the right direction. I think next time we'll probably finish up these walls all the way. We got the other sills to install. We got to make the paneling. We got the baseboards installed. We got a few more window casings to do over here on this little tiny window. We got the little window to the pantry to do still. And then, of course, we have the crown to make and install as well. So there's still some stuff to do. So that's going to do it for this one. Thank you, as always, for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments on the home renovation remodel, whatever we're calling it, this thingamabob or whatever it is, please feel free to leave a comment. As always, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. And until next time, happy woodworking. Look at me spinning around. That's so much trim. Why?